Marhaba. Welcome once again. I'm historian Dr. Jack Dempsey, living in Crete these days, but from the US. And with me is my brother, Muhammad Jihad Ismael, a Palestinian historian from Gaza, has lived there all his life and most of that life in captivity. Today is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. There has been a momentous event in the family of Muhammad, the birth of his young daughter, Mary, in the midst of a ceasefire that has killed 500 Palestinians in the past week, including many children, many families wiped out. So if you're a viewer who is joining, another of our many programs on Palestinian life, we hope you will sympathize with their situation. Consult our resources at GoFundMe.com. The title of it is Help Muhammad Ismael and His Children, support Muhammad Ismael and his children. We have just crossed the $10,000 mark toward our goal of $25,000 that would allow Muhammad and his whole family to emigrate to a family life of new hope. And we hope that you will share a mere $10, the cost of coffee for a day. Because if we can get only 2,500 people to contribute, they will reach their goal. And that is a life dream for real people. So don't forget that. If you want to get to know the family even better, much better, go to jackdempseywriter.wordpress.com, jackdempseywriter.wordpress.com. There are multiple pages of photos and wonderful journal entries and messages from Muhammad and his family and friends that you can really get to know these people and see the beauty in their hearts. The fact that they take care of each other so well and that they honor the highest ethical traditions of their religion, and that they want only to reestablish the peaceful coexistence between Palestinians and Jewish people, Israeli people. That was the rule and the norm for centuries before 1948 and the Nakba. So with that, as usual, lengthy introduction, I want to say hello to my brother Muhammad. We love you so much. Congratulations on the birth of your beautiful daughter, Mary. You can see her picture and lots about these events at the WordPress site I mentioned. And hello, Papa.
Hello, uncle. You are Mary's uncle. Thank you, brother. I am so happy to listen this cheerful introduction. I will be happy today to talk with you and to share with you some thoughts.
Okay, and one other thing, as you asked me, Muhammad, and I forgot, please, to our audience, bear with any technical difficulties, delays that might come up. We'll try to bear with them and fill the time productively for you. But the relationship over Zoom that I've had with Muhammad for a long time has been uniquely problematic. This is no doubt due to interference from Hamas, from Israel, and from the United States, but we do the best we can. So thank you again for coming, for your patience today. And Muhammad, tell us what's happening. First, how is little Mary? How is your wife recovering from her C-section? Her name is Ghada. How are the children reacting? And how in the world are you surviving?
Everything is okay for Ghada. She is recovering despite the shortage of all the protein sources. Due to the strict closure and the blockade, we have no sources for protein, no chicken, no meat, no beef, no fishes. So despite the severe shortage of protein sources, she is recovering now. Mary is so beautiful. Gradually,
she sure is.
Gradually her beauty is appearing. And these days, actually, Mary is our source of happiness. She is giving us the motivation to happy and to have some smile during our exhausting day.
And this is Ramadan time too, Muhammad, a very significant part of your life there. It always has been in your family. And this, we've joked before that your life has been a fasting period. The starvation imposed on Gaza and the territories, etc., has always been a starvation period where you use hunger to heighten your spiritual awareness. So we laugh to say, how do you know when it's Ramadan? Because this year especially has been so difficult for you. It's typical for you to have a family meal together after sundown each day. But I saw Mary's little smile on Zoom the other day when we managed to communicate. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see this smile, you are going to melt. She is such a creature of beauty and love and happiness. So I'm just very happy to hear you say that, Muhammad. What else do you want to tell us about Ghada? You are searching every day, risking your life to go out and find protein, meat, nourishing food for her and the baby and the family. None of us can even imagine dodging artillery shells while they go for water, while they try to find food. What else is happening
Yes,
in your neighborhood, Mohammed? You said that Israeli tanks and troops were only a mile away and that shells continue to fall. Your house is damaged. Please tell us your news.
yes, brother. I am living here in the eastern part of Deir al-Balah.
Near the wall.
Unfortunately, yeah, in the central area of Gaza Strip. Unfortunately, we have advancement for the tanks. They are approaching to my area here, my neighborhood. Now they are standing almost 1 kilometer from away from my house. In the night, they are shelling, opening fire at our neighborhood. You cannot imagine the voice of the engines of the tanks.
The
It's very,
Merkava
very,
tank is very loud even for a tank.
yeah. Merkava is a very, very heavy tank. It is 60 tons. 60 tons. Very,
Wow.
very, yeah, exactly like the Abrams, the American Abrams tank. They are the most heavy tanks. It's 60 tons, you know. When its engine is working, you cannot sleep. It's very, very loud and disturbing voice, you know.
And
So you cannot sleep.
this must be part of why, Mohammed, that in the past 1 week, there have been over 500 people killed in Gaza. Hamas, I saw on the news, launched a few miserable rockets toward Tel Aviv. And according to Israelis' own news sources, there were no casualties and no damage. And this is the way that Israel responds.
Yes. Hamas always launching those primitive, clumsy rockets. They doesn't kill. They doesn't kill an Israelis. They doesn't harm an Israelis. And of course, I will not be happy when they kill or harm an Israelis. You know,
That's
I want
that's
the
important to say, brother, and you have always said that.
yeah. Of course, I want this murder to be over on both sides, here in Palestine and there in Israel. Of course, brother. Yeah. So we have the same techniques of Hamas, the same crazy techniques, firing those missiles, those primitive unguided missiles, and firing them, unfortunately, from populous places,
And
crowded places. Yeah.
and
Whenever Israelis are making the reaction, they are responding to the source of fire. So they are getting rid from those areas which the rockets were fired from.
and in your book, Muhammad, which I'll show to people here, tomorrow will answer horror and hope in Palestine. You make a very detailed case showing that Hamas does, in fact, hide among civilians, that they make Palestinian people pay the price of their foolish militarism. And so this provokes and brings even more horror into Gaza. Now, I wanted to ask you, Muhammad, over many months, there have been many refugees from Rafah, like yourself, and from other places that have found a place to live or survive at least in Deir or Balah. When you go out on the streets, Muhammad, to find food, to find water, are the streets very crowded there always? Are there many refugees in Balah now?
Now, almost streets are empty. You have
Wow.
only the original people of Balah, because after the beginning of ceasefire, people who evacuated northern Gaza were allowed to go back to their places in northern Gaza. So now we have only the original people of Balah.
I
If
see.
you
That's
walk,
about 30,000, isn't it?
it's about 80,000.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So streets now are almost empty because all the people who evacuated here, they used to go back to their places in northern Gaza Strip.
I see. Now, Mohammed, one other thing that's important to ask, because so many people are talking about now the tighter than ever blockade by Israel of humanitarian supplies coming in. They are blocking all fuel, electricity, medicine, water, food, everything has been worse than ever in terms of the blockade of Gaza. So you, nonetheless, have been able to find cans of milk for little Mary, cases of bottled water through UNICEF and other humanitarian organizations. But can you talk a little how difficult that is? Are supplies really getting through? And is Hamas stealing and selling these supplies still? How difficult is it for you? And is Hamas still stealing and selling these things?
Yeah, of course, unfortunately, Israel is making this a sort of collective punishment. It
That's
is a
what it
collective
is.
punishment. Yeah, it's very, very crazy action from Israel. Unfortunately, we didn't read about this sort of closure uh, at our contemporary history. Maybe we have to go back to the ancient history when Assyrians, Babylonians, Egyptians, etc., were sieging the ancient cities. We didn't listen about such similar sieges in our contemporary life around us in this world, brother.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they are making very strict, very rigid, very tough closure. Nothing is allowed to go to Gaza. Nothing is allowed.
Well,
You
let me
have
point
to,
out that with our help, with help from outside, Mohammed, you have more or less been able to get water, been able to get some canned milk and food. How difficult is it for most Palestinians right now in the streets? How difficult
yeah,
is it for families to keep their children fed?
yeah. Unfortunately, we have shortage in everything. Shortage
Everything.
in food, in water, in medicine, in everything. I will tell you my personal story, my personal tragedy. For me, I have no water in my nearby. I have no water in my neighborhood. I have to walk every time like 4 kilometers. So I have to walk eight kilometers for the two-way, for the two-way journey. I have to walk 8 kilometers just to arrive the nearest source of water in order to have some bottles of water and to carry them back for my children. Yeah, can you imagine how much is it exhausting to carry the water, and you know water is very, very heavy water.
Well,
You have to carry.
we use bottled water here in Crete. We have to, except for bathing, and there is nothing heavier, it seems. I cannot imagine carrying water such a distance.
Yeah. So I carry water upon my shoulder with my hands, and I walk this long distance. This
Now,
is
when you
just
get
one.
there, so excuse me, brother, when you
Yeah.
arrive at the place to get water, do you stand in a long line of people? And is Hamas still stealing and selling supplies?
Yeah. For the water, no, I don't stand. I don't wait at long line because, as I told you, now we have no crowds. Most of the people have returned back to the north. Yeah. Previously, I used to stand and to wait in a long line, but now, as I told you, we have very little amount of population. They are only the original people of Balah.
But
Hamas
those people,
now,
those people must still get their water the way you do, right?
yeah, of course, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So is Hamas
Yeah.
still stealing and selling humanitarian aid? Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. Hamas, oh my God, Muhammad, do you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, here comes a problem. We may have to close our program early, but we're trying to get one more question through.
These days, there is nothing.
Muhammad, do you hear me? You can, okay, we have lost Muhammad altogether. He always comes right back, so bear with us for a minute. But I can tell you again from the details, as you can see for yourself in Muhammad's book, Tomorrow Will Answer, it's been a regular practice of Hamas to hide among the civilians and to steal and sell humanitarian aid. There he is, brother, welcome back. Is Hamas still stealing and selling humanitarian aid?
Now, as I told you, there is no aids to be stolen. We have very strict closure, and there is nothing to be allowed to come to Gaza. But of course, Hamas is still doing the other sorts of thuggish work and thuggish action. Previously, when the aids were allowed to come to Gaza, of course, they used to steal the aids and they used to sell them. If you go to the market, you will find all the canned food which is labeled with this line,
not for sale.
Not for sale, written with a very, very large alphabets.
There are photographs. There are photographs of those cans on the jackdempseywriter.wordpress.com website, just to show the proof that this is what Hamas is stealing. One day also, Muhammad, you had your camera on. One day you had your camera on and you were standing next to your window in the house and you looked down on the road and there were truckloads of supplies going by with men with machine guns on top of the supplies. That you could see the Hamas stealing the trucks of supplies and going right by your house where you are starving.
Yes, of course, yeah. So this was the situation previously when aids were allowed to come to Gaza. They used to steal, they used to sell those aids, so you have to pay money. For me, as a Palestinian person, I must pay money in order to have those aids which were sent to me for free. you know. They were sent as an aids, as a help.
And you know, we have to conclude that there is no crime that Hamas will not commit against their own people. Against their own people. So you have Israel, the United States, Hamas, and other assorted gangsters who are hurting the Palestinian people every day in the midst of this suffering.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately,
it's like being in hell.
Yes, yes.
And you still smile, brother. You still produce brilliant work of Gaza history, Palestinian history. I see a man who will not be defeated. And that's important for the whole world to see. I think, Muhammad, we should keep this program a little bit short today. Would you like to add anything else on your report from Gaza right now?
Sorry, brother, cannot.
Okay, we have just lost Muhammad again. Let's see if he comes back one more time, and we'll wrap this program with any other news that he can offer that you don't see in other places. That's been our practice, to try to provide what is missing. Hello, brother. There you are. Thank you for coming back.
Yes, brother.
Muhammad, yes. we should keep our program short today. But is there anything else in your news, Muhammad, that we should know that we do not hear from anywhere else? You always give us the inside Gaza point of view. What else should we know right now about what is happening to you, brother?
Yeah, I am sorry that today we have very bad signal. That's why we have to make it short program today. I want to tell the people around the world, unfortunately, all media sources are poisonous, are polluted. Please don't see Gaza through this bad mirror, through this broken mirror. Please, please don't look to Gaza. Don't make judgments about Gaza through what you see in Al Jazeera and in other similar polluted media. Please, please try to contact with the families inside Gaza, to contact with the people who are living in the field. If you want to have the real testimony, you have to contact the real people who are living inside the field, in the heart of the field.
And if you, ladies and gentlemen, want to do that, you can. You contact me and or Muhammad. The information will be here and more information below. And you can do that. You can do as we have done, fall in love with a Palestinian family of real people and change their fortunes for the better. Again, just get in touch with us and we will be happy to facilitate that. And you can help in any small or large way that you wish. Brother, I'm going to close with reminding people to please share $10 with our GoFundMe. Support Muhammad Ismael and his children at GoFundMe.com, and to visit the family itself in many different ways at jackdempseywriter.wordpress.com. jackdempseywriter@wordpress.com. Muhammad, thank you so much for giving us your time today. You are always in our hearts. We love you and little Mary, and we know that justice will come, brother. Take good care of yourself. Well, as I yacked away at him in closing, it seems that we've lost Muhammad again. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today, for putting up with this difficulty, which we have nowhere else. And peace to the world. Justice, kindness, and peace.